Well, hello there. It has been an incredibly long time since I've done a video for the channel, and I was going to go into a big spiel about why, but let's face it, that's not why you want to watch videos on a horror channel. So, I've decided that after such a long period of not talking to you, that I thought I would start off with some interesting videos. And the thing is, like, we've got our Facebook page, and I enjoy going on there and talking about movies, and I enjoy going on to Letterboxd and talking about movies, but it's not really the same as discussing like top films. So I decided that it might be quite good to do like top 10 films of each like period of time, so from like the 80s and 90s and 90s, and I thought it might be quite interesting to go back the way, because there's like I don't even think I'll have 10 films for the 1920s, but I thought I would start with the 2020s to the 24. Now I know it's only been 4 years, but it's been a good 4 years of horror films, and no doubt over the next however many years there's going to be so many, like even next year, or even the fact that I'm going to see Smile 2 at the weekend, it might come in here and knock my number one off, you never know. But I decided that it might be quite interesting even just to look at the last 4 years up until now. And I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I've seen every horror film release, because I certainly have not. I wish I had time to watch all these things, but I don't, and I tend to actually watch a lot of movies when I'm painting or doing other things. And that's one of the reasons I haven't made videos, is just because I've been distracted by other hobbies. And sometimes when you just lose your mojo, you lose your mojo. Anyway, I decided to take a wee note of all the films that I could remember from the last 4 years, and then put together what I think my top 10 are. Now, this isn't Claire's or Alison's, this is just me. And I can tell you, it was bloody hard. There is so many good films that have been released in the last 4 years. So, as you can see, I wrote pages worth in my little domination book that my friend gave me. But I'm going to start from 10 upwards, and no doubt if you ask me tomorrow, these top 10 would be different. But for today, this is my number 10. So it's a movie called Host. Host is on Shudder, and it came out perfect time during lockdown, and that's when it's set. It's set during lockdown, and it's everybody on like video calls to each other. It was just really atmospheric, and for me it kind of took me by surprise. I am not a found footage fan. I never really have been. I think it takes a lot for me to look at a found footage movie and go, does it make sense why they're filming this? Because a lot of times they're filming stuff for absolutely no reason. And let's face it, if like aliens attacked or zombies attacked, you're gonna drop the camera. And that's the thing that bothers me the most, is like, why would you hang on to the camera throughout the whole thing? So it made sense to me in Host why there's a camera involved, because well, nobody could go near each other. But yeah, it took me by surprise. It was really atmospheric. It was really scary in parts as well, like jumpy, not terrifying, but jumpy, and built up I keep saying atmosphere, but built up the terror in those scenes. So maybe not be everybody's top 10 movie, but it was for me. Number 9's Malignant. Now I am going to get slagged for this one because a lot of people don't like it. But again, even on the first watch, I seen it in the cinema, I didn't see a lot of the twists coming, but I did sense some of it. But that end sequence is just like, oh, well, they've just went wild. They've had fun with that end sequence. If you haven't all seen it, most people probably have seen it by now, but I don't know. I just love the idea of two people in one, and that all this stuff's been happening that you didn't realise. It's got a great soundtrack. The acting's really good in it. Again, it's just one that took me by surprise, and it's one of those kind of feel-good movies that I can just put on even in the background whilst I'm doing other things and still enjoy it. I mean, I've seen it a few times and I still enjoy how silly it is, how bloody it is. It's just, I don't know, it's just a movie that I don't need to use my brain a lot to watch, and I just enjoyed it. I cheated a wee bit with number 8 because it's a trilogy. It's on Netflix, and I like the first one and I like the third one. The second one's by far the best, but they're all one continuous movie. And you could probably go as far as to say it's more of like a series, maybe a mini series, but they were films. And that's the Fear Street trilogy. Similar to Malignant in the sense that you can just watch it multiple times and enjoy it. It doesn't take, like, you don't have to be intensely watching. Great acting. Each story has its own like theme going on it. I think that a lot of the subject matters are relevant to the last 10 years, and more so now for whatever reason. These kind of like sexuality is relevant because there's a lot of people kind of kicking off about people just being who they are. I mean, for goodness sake, just let folk be who they are. But Fear Street, again, loved the second one more than the first and the third. But altogether, it's a series. It needs to be cheated and put in as one. Number seven's a movie that came out this year. Again, it's going to divide people because I know a lot of folk that love it and a lot of people that hate it, and that is Longlegs. So clearly, I'm on the love it side of things. Like, it was Nicolas Cage at his best. The movie's no perfect. It's got a lot of stuff going on that doesn't make sense in some ways, but that's part of the reason I loved it. I loved it. It didn't make sense in a lot of ways. And can I tell you, Alyssa Witt, who I've always liked, I've liked her from being in Twin Peaks to Urban Legend to The Walking Dead. The woman can act, and she's an underrated actress that in my opinion, actress that's been should have done more. She should have been appreciated more. She's in this movie called Fun. If you've never seen it, it's a great kind of, I wouldn't call it horror, it's a kind of thriller. She's a much younger in it, but I think that was kind of that, and Twin Peaks was my first sort of seeing her in anything, and it's a really good movie as well. Never really been released in it. I've seen it on VHS, never really been released in any other format that I'm aware of. But if you've never heard of it and you can find a way to watch it, it's a good wee film. But yep, so Longlegs, loved the idea of it, loved how it worked, loved the ending of it, and it's worth at least one watch. Number six, Smile. Smile is just a movie that I went into thinking this is just going to be a typical jump scare slasher, gonna be bored. I wasn't bored. Now, I think the idea of it is very much like The Ring, where you watch a video and then it comes after you, and this is just you see somebody dying who's being chased by smiles, which I thought was a great idea. The monster at the end is fantastic. The acting in it's really good, especially is it Sasha Bacon? I might be saying her name wrong, but it's Kevin Bacon's daughter, but she was fantastic in it. I also loved the parts that I didn't love was the CGI parts. They didn't really need that, but a lot of the practical effects stuff was really good, and I liked that they didn't the first girl that basically passes on the smile. I mean, she sold that whole movie, like even the advertising with a smile, which is brilliant. But the advertising for that movie was great, and I think that led a lot to how good it was going to be. But I'm looking forward to Smile 2. I think I've sussed out how it's going to end, but these movies are quite good at kind of flipping things on their heads, so you just never know. Number five, now this was a tricky one because again it's a trilogy and all three of them have come out within the last 4 years. It's Pearl. Now I am going to admit the first time that I seen Pearl I didn't like it, but I watched a dodgy copy of it. Should never have done that, naughty. But and it ruined the experience for me. It was only in second viewing with Claire that I realised what a good film it is. I think that Mia Goth is fantastic in pretty much everything that I've seen her in, and I very nearly went with X because of the slasher side of it. The Maxine's good. I think Maxine's the weakest one out of the three of them. I don't know, it just felt very rushed in places with Maxine, but still good. Like, I'm not taking anything away from it. I think Ty West has done great. I like his other movies. I like House of the Devil, and I like Innkeepers. I like Sacrament. I just think he's a good movie maker. But Pearl's definitely the standout for me. It's funny, Pearl in this movie kind of jumped back and forth whilst I was doing the list. But another movie from this year, Late Night with the Devil. I loved everything about it. I seen it in the cinema, luckily. Claire didn't, and I think she didn't enjoy the experience as much as Alison and I did because we seen it on the big screen and we seen it really late. It was like the last showing of it. And I don't know if seeing it late and it was a late night theme of it made a difference for us, but I just loved it. I loved everything to do with it. I liked that there's so much hidden in it, so every time you watch it you can spy something else. The ending again, I love endings that do that. It's like they kind of cruise along, nice and good, like nice and easy, keeping you entertained, keeping you engrossed, and then the ending comes and it just goes fuck it. and I like movies like that. Number 3, Talk to Me. I didn't expect Talk to Me to be much, to be fair. The advertising sold it as just a kind of generic movie like Taro, for example, but it was so much more. I loved the acting in it. I loved oh god, some of the scenes, like the wee kid smashing his face, was just, I didn't, I think part of Talk to Me, and I've watched it more than once, so it's not just a case of the first watch kind of took me by surprise, and that's the reason I liked it. I have seen it more than once, and all the viewings, well, I think it's 3 times I've seen it, have been as good as the last. I liked the premise of it. I liked the atmosphere. I liked how it felt uneasy the entire way through, and that's why it's in my number 3. Number 2, this is another movie that's going to divide people because I know a lot of people hate it. Excuse me, lost my voice. I personally loved it, and it's my favourite Jordan Peele movie out of everything that he's done, which I know folk are going to go, how can you find that one the best? But I do, and that's the movie Nope. I think Nope is, again, atmospheric the whole way through. It made me feel uneasy. I am not an alien movie fan. I just never have been. I don't know if that's partly to do with, okay, there's other planets. I believe there's life on those planets. Do I believe they're going to bother with us? Not really. But that's probably why with me. Plus, I feel like alien films are overdone, that Hollywood got a hold of them and then just destroyed it. However, I am watching a new VHS movie and I'm quite enjoying that. But anyway, back to Nope. So Nope, I feel like it was a beautiful movie to watch, and everything about it's stunning. 4K is the way to watch it. But that one particular scene, and I know you know what I'm talking about, where you get to see the people inside the creature, that sticks with you, and then it blows out all the blood and metal and stuff onto the house. It's scary. I'll be honest, if you were in that situation, you would poop your pants. But I'm going to stick up for Nope forever, and I just really like the film. And then number 1 is a movie which I seen not that long ago, but it clearly stuck with me, and I can't wait to watch it again, and that's The Substance. Can I just say that's Demi Moore's best movie ever, best acting in the film. I think that I like that you don't really need to know where the substance came from, who made the substance. I just like that there's a lot in that film about sort of like hidden meaning about women and fame and women's bodies and looks and stuff like that. And again, I know a lot of folk that didn't like it because of that. I mean, we've watched plenty of movies that are about other subjects, so just shut up and enjoy that this one's about women. But the ending again, it just threw balls to the wall. Let's go crazy. It'd make a really good double feature with Society if you were going to watch it. Now, I know because it's so new, there's not going to be a lot of people that have seen it yet, so I'm not going to say a lot about it. But, like, don't eat when you watch the ending. And I think if you can eat whilst watching the ending, you should be awarded. What I will say is, when we were sitting in the cinema, I looked over at Claire, and she was just sitting with her jaw on the floor. And then I looked at Alison, and her eyeballs were just about popping out her head. I started laughing at bits, but not because it was funny, but because it was kind of uncomfortable. I was just sitting like uncomfortably laughing. I don't know, it was my way of dealing with it, but I walked out that movie just telling everybody that was brilliant, that was amazing. I've recommended it to everybody that I possibly can. It's a fantastic movie. Watch it. If you haven't seen it, watch it and support it. Now, I am going to go back and kind of tell you some of the movies that almost made my list, but didn't. So, Evil Dead Rise, like, it's a great film. I really enjoyed it because the amount of blood that is in it, but did it make me go, this is the best movie that I've seen in the last 4 years? No. But I still enjoy it. I own it. I've rewatched it. It's a good film. Obviously, X is here. I've told you about that. Sissy, it's a movie on Shudder. It's one of their own films. I really enjoyed it. It took me by surprise, the storyline and where it went, because I didn't expect it to go where it was going. Prey, best Predator movie in a long time. The Black Phone, genuinely creepy. I don't think there should be a part 2. Maybe it'll be good, you never know. But I felt like it was really just a standalone film. but I really enjoyed it. And Ethan Hawke, he's been knocking it out the park with horror movies recently, and I'm enjoying him as the bad guy rather than the good guy. Excuse me. Um, and I don't know, it was genuinely creepy. I felt uncomfortable as I was watching it. The sadness, it's a good film. How nobody's realised that it's kind of ripped off the comic book series Across, I'm not sure. Brutal and bloody, it's not a movie you would watch that many times. I have watched it twice, once recently because I was showing my sister who hadn't seen it yet, and I think she got halfway through and was like, I'm away home. The newest Hellraiser, a lot of people hate it. I just enjoyed it. It tried to do something different. It felt good, it looked good. The main character was an arsehole, which was one of the things that put me off. But then again, in real life, is every main character going to be likeable? Probably, if you want folk to stick with the film. But I thought it looked good. I thought the acting was good. I thought the woman that played Pinhead, whose name I've completely forgot, was really good in the role. The menu, again, just a really good watch. I thought that it felt really creepy the whole way through, and you weren't entirely sure where it was going to go. The First Omen, I mean, I would go as far as to say The First Omen and Immaculate are kind of, they're both very similar themed movies. I thought The First Omen felt creepier. It just kind of had you on edge the whole way through. Immaculate, I felt, actually both of them had really disturbing endings, but Immaculate, particularly the ending of that, made me not want to eat food whilst I was watching it. Megan, you know what? It was a good watch. It's a fun watch. I can see why everybody wanted to dress up as Megan. I can see why everybody loved the dance. Does it need a part 2? Probably not. And they're probably not going to explain to you that the woman that created Megan probably should have gone to jail for that, but hey ho. The Hatchling. This is a foreign film. I seen it at Scream Unseen at the Odeon, which I was really glad. Although I was actually disappointed the sheer amount of people that got up and left, purely and simply because it was a foreign movie. They didn't even let the movie start. They just seen the subtitles and left. It's a really sad life doing that, because there's so many international movies with subtitles that are really good. And I'll probably see that as I go back through the decades, looking at periods of time, how many really good foreign films there are in there. But The Hatchling, really enjoyed it. Atmospheric again. I feel like I'm describing everything as atmospheric, but it really was. Invisible Man, best kind of retelling of any of the Universal movies I've seen in a long time. It made me uncomfortable. Dealt with a really serious subject matter, and I don't know, it made me uncomfy. Barbarian, I know Claire's not the biggest fan of this movie. She just felt like it was 3 stories in one. I'm throwing my pen away. She felt like it was 3 stories in one that didn't fit together well. And I get that, I understand that, but I just still thought it was a good film. Psycho Gorman, Shudder movie, just a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. The Wolf of Snow Hollow took me by surprise. Good ending, you won't see it coming. Deathstream, another Shudder movie. The guy's a dick in it, but it's just a lot of fun to watch. Again, not a found footage fan, so I was surprised I liked this. It's the same with a movie which is probably a bit further on called Dashcam. Not a found footage fan, mainly because I don't understand why they still keep a camera on them, but that's just my opinion. But again, I actually enjoyed it. The Night House, again, went a direction I didn't expect, even though I sort of guessed it the further it went along. But I'm going to say atmospheric again. Come to Daddy, really uncomfortable. Elijah Wood doing his best. He's good in horror films. You could tell he's a fan. These 2 movies are almost identical, but I enjoyed both of them, and it's totally killer and It's a Wonderful Knife. Both time travel slasher films, but I enjoyed both equally. My cat's trying to get in. Terrifier 2, look, I like the Terrifier movies. I enjoy the blood and the gore and the practical effects. I don't think they're the best slasher movies ever made, but I will say I love the character of Art the Clown. He is, somebody described him as a psycho Mr. Bean, and they're spot on. I just think the actor's amazing, doing so much with no dialogue. So I do love the actual character. Colour Out of Space, Claire didn't rate this one, I did, but I think it's just because it was so colourful, and for whatever reason I'm just loving Nicolas Cage just now. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I've watched Bodies, Bodies, Bodies a few times. Once you know the ending, it kind of ruins it for you. But I think because each of the actors and each of those characters are so dislikable, it's a lot of fun watching what happens to them. Abigail. I enjoyed Abigail. The problem with that movie was that the trailer ruined the entire thing. It showed you everything. It showed who was going to turn into vampires. It showed you pretty much the ending. And I think I would have much preferred that film had I not seen the trailer. It ruined it for me. Maxine, I've spoke to you about. Slay, that is a Tubi original. Made me laugh. It's basically drag queens go to a kind of rough bar, like a manly bar, and then vampires attack. So it's like drag queens meets From Dusk Till Dawn. Made me laugh. I just enjoyed it. I think you'll be surprised that I didn't put either Scream 5 or Scream 6 on it. Both of them are good films. I enjoyed them. I don't think there's a Scream movie that isn't rewatchable. 3's probably the weakest for me. And I did enjoy that it was different characters. I don't, like, a lot of people kicked off about Neve Campbell not coming back in 6, but I feel like their story's kind of been told. So it was good following different characters. I hated the talking to Billy. I just thought that was stupid. I know they were trying to make it like she was cracked like her dad, but I just felt those scenes weren't needed. I loved that Scream 6 went away from Woodsboro and went to New York. Was it New York? I think it was. And it was good to see that they were moving away from the same time where all these things have continuously happened. But I wouldn't have put them in my top movies. Thanksgiving, fun slasher, hundreds of plot holes, good practical effects, definitely worth a watch. Lisa Frankenstein, didn't get much love this year. I just loved it. It was like the Heathers meets a silly reimagining of Frankenstein. I just enjoyed it. It was pop, technicolor, funny. Orphan First Kill, expected it to be crap. It wasn't. Good twist. They Them, nobody talks about this movie. I think it was an American channel that we don't get here. For the life of me, I can't remember it, but They Them, I actually liked it. It's a camp for rehabilitation, is that what you call it? Camp for kids that are gay, trying to turn them straight, or kids that are, I don't know, trans, etc. Kevin Bacon's in it. He's really good in it, and it was good seeing the girl from My Girl have a wee bit of a different role in this. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good wee slasher. More people should see it. Now, Wrong Turn, it is not a remake of Wrong Turn, and I think this is where they went wrong by calling it that, because a lot of people think it's a remake. It is not. It's completely different. There is no hillbillies in it. It's more of a cult, and I thought it was really good. It took me by surprise again. I keep saying that, but along with the word atmospheric. But I definitely recommend giving this one a go. It is not a remake. Willy's Wonderland, again, I'm loving Nicolas Cage just now. I love the things that he's trying to do. I've actually got a couple of other films that he's in that I've not had a chance to watch yet, but I'm looking forward to them. Along with stuff like, I saw the TV Glow, Cuckoo, stuff like that. I haven't watched it, and you never know, they might bump all these movies down a notch. I've mentioned Dashcam already. Last Night in Soho, very nearly made my top 10, because I just really enjoy this movie. I like the way that they've done the flashbacks. I think one of the lead girls is actually, is she playing a British character, but her accent's not particularly good. But anyway, I just really liked Last Night in Soho. Soundtrack's great, acting's great, how it looks is fantastic. Underwater, a movie again, you love it or you hate it. Anything that's done underwater kind of freaks me out, because I've got another one down here called Sea Fever. Big part of that is I am not a great swimmer, but also, like, other than space, the sea is like one of the most unexplored places. You'll never know what's 100% in the sea, and I think that's why I liked underwater, because it's creepy. Like, you go for a swim, a shark could be right below you. It's just creepy, the feeling of it. VFW, great. Would I call it a slasher? Well, I'll call it a slasher. But I just love the premise of it. Again, it's like, I like movies where people are trapped inside trying to get out. And this is like green rooms like that, From Dusk Till Dawn's like that. But it's just a good premise, and I really enjoyed all the characters and the actors that were in it. Gretel and Hansel by the same guy that did Longlegs. Sorry, my nose keeps running. Good atmosphere, good acting. I think the lead woman, whose name for whatever reason has just jumped out of my head. Why does she keep doing that? She's in Silent Hill, very good. She's great as the witch, but again, not an awful lot of people talk about it, and they should. And then we've got the last one that's on a wee honourable mention. It's quite a lot of honourable mentions, isn't it? We Summon Darkness. Just a good wee film that you don't need to use your brain to watch. Johnny Knoxville's in it. You don't need to use your brain to watch. But overall, I enjoyed it. You know, it's actually, as much as I need a drink and I've run out of breath doing this, talking whilst watching this, I've actually enjoyed talking about my top 10 movies. And I would like to know if there's any that I've not put in that list. As I said, I've got a really long list of stuff that I haven't watched yet. I don't sit in front of the TV 24/7. I'd be fatter than I am now if I did that. But there's a lot of movies out there that I haven't got around to watching yet, and it would be good to know if there's any that you've seen that I haven't mentioned there that you definitely recommend I go and watch. I'm aware of loads of them, like Titan and Swallow. I'm aware people keep telling me to watch them, I just haven't got around to it yet. So yeah, it'd be good to know which ones you recommend to me, and hopefully I keep up these videos. I'm not going to say I'm doing it regularly because I've got other hobbies and I've got work, etc. But I think it'd be good to come back and do some movies that actually have a theme rather than pick up videos that, to be honest, just became soul destroying for me. Doing collection videos was just, it just, here's this, here's that, this is this. I think we all know as horror fans that we collect stuff. I actually have got rid of a lot of stuff, and it actually felt really good just keeping the things I love. Although I have learned a lesson and realised that I shouldn't have got rid of some stuff because I've had to rebuy them, like Robocop, for example. I had a really nice special edition from Arrow and I sold it. I couldn't get it back. I just bought the standard edition, but I have been good with editions because I've been looking at, this is me going off on a tangent, I have been looking at things like, do I really need that special edition? What's it giving me? A booklet? Nah, I'll save a tenner and just get the film like I did with The Hitcher recently. But anyway, I'll stop going off on a tangent. This video is incredibly long and hopefully somebody actually watches it and enjoys it. Thank you if you do, and it's good to be back. See you later.